Hey folks, Trubie here. Alright, trying to rush this one out before our event starts here at 2 o'clock. Got in a little early for Dice Masters today, so as promised, Space Wolves. Here we go. The Space Wolves are another of the Imperial chapters of Space Marines. Previously we talked about the Ultramarines and their Primarch Roboute Guilliman. The Space Wolves are a different group who still serve the Emperor, but were instead created from the gene stock of another of the Emperor's Primarch children, Leman Russ, hence the name, the Sons of Rus. So let's go bring up a picture of them. Leman Russ was considered to be one of the greatest warriors of the Primarchs and known to be both both fierce and barbaric. Scattered to the winds as an infant, like his brothers, Russ was first raised by wolves on the death world of Fenris. He was eventually captured by human tribesmen and was given a place in the house of a local chieftain. It's then kind of a Tarzan story where they taught him how to be human, and very quickly his skills and aptitude for being a great warrior started showing themselves, and eventually he, just being the Emperor's blood, rose through the ranks and became the king of all of Fenris, and became known as the Wolf King. The Emperor eventually found him, as he did all of his children eventually, and that's another fun story about how Leman Russ challenged the Emperor to a series of contests, including eating and drinking, which Russ both won, but then the frustrated Emperor completely whooped him in a combat test. But after the Emperor devastated him, Russ, awakened and immediately bent the knee and he swore fealty to the Emperor and was fiercely loyal, even during the Horus Heresy. I always pronounce that wrong. So, where is Russ now? No one knows. He disappeared. It's believed he had some sort of vision in his great hall amongst his men. Basically, fell to his knees, got up, said something to his main guard, and just left. Walked out of the Great Hall of the Space Wolves and didn't utter a word to anyone else. And he's been missing now for thousands of years, which every year on the anniversary of his disappearance, they still set a place for him. Actually, for the first several years they did that. Now I think it's every 1,000 years. They set a place for him, fill his drinking flask, and he doesn't show. So yes, he is now missing. All right. So now you know a little bit about the Primarch. Let's get into some of the cards that are in the 40K set, specifically the Space Wolves. Hopefully, going over the Primarch enough, I think, gives you a good idea for the personality of the Space Wolves. They're all very fierce, very Viking-like, I guess is the best way to put it. But yes, so Wolfen. One thing we did not talk about last time is several of the Primarchs have a flaw in their genetic makeup. For example, another chapter called the Blood Angels have the problem that they have a literal bloodthirst and suffer from what they call the Black Rage, I believe. So basically, they're vampires who fight their vampiness. They don't want to drink blood, and if any of them do, it's basically they've given in to their weaknesses, and they tend to, I think they're killed or something. It's just basically bad. So if you notice the Wolfen card, Wolfen is not a person, but actually a Space Marine that has succumbed to their genetic flaw. And if you haven't already guessed, it's lycanthropy. They're fighting their werewolfiness. So when they succumb to the curse, they become savage, predatory, beast-like mutants. So yeah, some of the stuff's a little on the nose. Space wolves, they're wolves on Fenris. It's cute, but it's a way of getting vampires and werewolves into 40K. Yeah, so that is a Wolfen. They all have the weakness in them, but very few actually fall prey to it. But basically, once they become part of the chapter, they suffer from the temptation to go berserk all the time. And when they go berserk, they become a Wolfen. So now, the Dreadnoughts. The Venerable Dreadnought. This is sure to be a popular card, so let's explain what a Dreadnought is. When a Space Marine is grievously wounded and can no longer fight for the Emperor, their bodies can be merged into these walking sarcophaguses, the Dreadnoughts. It's a permanent merger of man and machine. So if you've seen RoboCop, think RoboCop, but this is a giant, tank. So the size of a tank and has an equal amount of firepower, but it's RoboCop. Then a Venerable Dreadnought is the oldest and wisest of the Dreadnoughts. For example, the Great Wolf, the first Great Wolf to lead the Space Wolves after Russ's disappearance, Bjorn the Fell-Handed, is now Dreadnought Bjorn the Fell-Handed, who still regales the Space Wolves with tales of Russ from within his metal tomb. Such a glorious way to treat your elders. Hey, it's kind of neat. But that is what a Venerable Dreadnought is. So then, lastly, we have Logan Goodman. So with the Space Wolves, he's our only named character, and Grimnar is also known as the Great Wolf. He is the newest elected Great Wolf, and he is the longest-serving Great Wolf of the Space Marines chapter. He's actually been the chapter master for 700 years. Believed by some to be the most powerful warrior in the Imperium. Grimnar is famous for ferocious battle lust and also kind of a kind heart. While he's completely loyal and devoted to the Emperor of Mankind, and of course his Primarch Logan Russ, he has little to no patience for the other authority figures in the Imperium. Despite a fearsome exterior, he's actually one of the most beloved of the Space Marine chapter masters by the common man due to his great compassion and respect for the common people. He's greatly loved, where most of the other chapter masters are greatly feared. So there we have it, folks. That is the Space Wolves. The too long didn't read version, they're space techno Viking werewolves, and they're pretty badass. That's it. Talk to you guys next time.